Hey everyone, it's Eric.
Hey, I'm Jared.
And we're Retro Gaming Pandemic. We got a pretty awesome video today. YouTuber Samantha Azira had challenged us to do a top 10 video games of all time. And so,
like our favorite video games of all time, right?
Yeah, but my favorite are the best. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean that's
I think
not up for debate.
my favorite are my favorite. So we'll go with that.
But with our YouTube channel, as you know, we're different than a lot of people out there. There's 2 of us. So instead of boring you for 10 each, we decided to break it up just for timing's sake and do 5 each for a total of 10. We're going to go back and forth and do our top 5, starting from 5 and ending with our top picks.
Number 5 favorite game of all time. I am going to choose Halo Combat Evolved. This is the first Halo for the original Xbox. This game just really means a lot to me. It was one of the first-person shooters that I really got into. The storyline's really interesting too. You play as the main character, Master Chief, and you're pretty much fighting against the Covenant alien race to defend humanity as they're trying to wipe out all humans.
Which is where you come in, Chief.
I love the multiplayer aspect in the
fun.
co-op campaign. Eric and I, literally, I remember us being in our living room at our parents' house, playing on that old CRT TV in the living room.
Yeah.
Co-op Halo. And then eventually going to friends' houses and having our first kind of
Link cables.
LAN party experiences where, you had to get the link cable for each Xbox. You could link up to 4 Xboxes. And we would have literally 16 people playing in our friends' houses in the basement, in the living room. And we'd bring our sleeping bags and just stay up all night playing Halo.
My 5th game is going to be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the Xbox. This game, not only am I a Star Wars fan, but the fact that BioWare really made a role-playing game that was unique with the decision-making aspect, the combat system was something I've never really seen before, where you can kind of like pause in combat and like have all your characters do different things, and then the combat resumes and all the actions you selected start taking effect. It was just such a fun game, and it was the first game I played where you had a morality scale of light side versus dark side. Of course, I went with the dark side on this one. I pretty much choked and electrocuted every single person that I possibly could. This is going to be my number 5 right here.
It's Star Wars too.
And it's Star Wars.
You can't go wrong with Star Wars.
Darth Revan is
there
my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And this game too, it's branched books and all kinds of things, and hopefully movies at some point. It's rumored right now, but
can we get Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan?
Oh god,
that's what I want. I want Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan.
All right, so number 4, I'll take this one first. And like a lot of these games, these are our original childhood games. So we've held on to these. That's how important they are to us. True. And this game, you and I, Jared, played so many hours, probably 1,000 hours into this game, is Star Ocean, the second story for PlayStation 1. This is probably well, there's another RPG on this list, so I can't say my favorite RPG.
You have a few. What are you talking
There's
about?
a few RPGs on this list for me. But this is definitely one of my favorite role-playing games of all time. Just the combat system of the game, it was a mixed turn-based with kind of action, but it was doing that before action RPGs were even a thing. Yeah. The fact that you could assign different moves to R1 and R2 and L1 and L2, and you could run around mid-combat and you would just spam those, buttons, and it would do the move. Like, I just remember Air Slash. This game had so many frickin' endings in it, and depending on what you did in those private actions would influence what ending you got at the game. This game just has so much replay value, so if you're looking for an RPG where you can play over and over again and get a new experience, Star Ocean: The Second Story is definitely it. Check it out. It's also on PSP as well if you want something a little newer, and they have voice acting on it, and it's really great. So definitely check it out. So
and get the bunny shoes.
Yes, get the bunny shoes.
And you can bet on bunny races.
The bunny shoes fan. So
okay,
what'd you get?
My number 4. Once again, childhood game. Still own it. Looks like I still got the manual and everything. And that is Grand Theft Auto 3 for the PlayStation 2. This is another game by Rockstar that we just played obsessively growing up. It was my first kind of experience playing an open world type of 3D game where you literally could just go around and interact with all of the NPCs.
Yeah.
You could do tons of different side missions on top of the main storyline, so there was endless things to do. And I love just like the whole gangster element of revenge in the storyline. I love Liberty City. It's literally the worst city on the planet.
8-Ball's got some business upstairs. Well, maybe you could do me a favor.
The soundtracks are really good on these too. Lots of really good underground hip hop stations. If I remember correctly, I feel like Lord Sear had who's a famous DJ. He had his own station on, I believe, Grand Theft Auto 3 that had a lot of like New York hip hop. So the music's always good, and this is a lot of fun. It paved the way for a whole franchise of Grand Theft Auto, and also paved the way for these open world 3D style of games that literally is the most popular style of game today. Third pick, I'm gonna go with an N64 game. I'm wearing an N64 shirt right now, which is appropriate. And I'm going with Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64. This was the first game that both Eric and I got for our kindergarten birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. 96, N64 came out. My dad actually bought us an N64 with this game. He allowed us to play it and open it before our birthday party, and then we literally packaged it back up and he rewrapped it. And we got to open it at the birthday.
Hey, guess what? We're having a birthday party. I'm so excited.
I've never seen a 3D platformer before. The whole premise of the game is that Bowser takes over the castle, and you have to jump in these paintings, which are levels or new dimensions within the castle, and you have to collect all the stars. And once you collected the stars, you would have 3 opportunities to actually battle Bowser to take control of the castle again.
Grab him by the tail and spin him around at one of the bombs.
Yeah, one of the bombs, one of the fire bombs.
Number 3, if you know me, I love the Nintendo Switch, so I gotta put some Switch games in my top list. And Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I had to have a Zelda game in this list. Truthfully, if we were doing 10 each, there would be more Zelda games in this list, but with 5, I narrowed it down to one Zelda game, and Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is the best Zelda game of all time. What they did was just revolutionary. It was something that just you've never seen before in a Zelda game, and I really think it set the precedent for the future of what they're going to do with the franchise. It's open world, so Jared, like Grand Theft Auto, you can literally run around and do whatever you want. If you wanted
Can you steal
to.
cars?
Come on, man.
The world is gorgeous, it's beautiful, the soundtrack's beautiful. It's a flawless game. There's nothing wrong with this game. If you're a fan of Skyward Sword, this game definitely has a lot of influence from that. I'm playing through Skyward Sword right now, and I'm definitely seeing that. So it's just a beautiful game. I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
Okay, so we're here with our number 2 favorite games of all time. Eric, what is your number 2?
Well, I'm wearing it.
Oh.
I'm wearing it, but I also brought it with me. It's Super Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Jared, you were talking about 3D platformers and Mario 64 being on yours. This is the most recent original, 3D platformer Mario game that we've gotten. And honestly, I think it is the best Mario game that we have ever seen. I know some people are going to drop in the comments Super Mario Brothers 3, which I have behind us here playing in the background, but Odyssey beats it, man.
Brothers. You can't live with them, you can't live without them.
The introduction of Cappy as a character and being able to throw your cap and possess Mario villains and take their powers was awesome. It was so much fun, and I love the aspect that Mario is traveling to these different worlds and kind of chasing Bowser because Bowser is trying to steal Peach and marry her. He kind of crashed Peach and Mario's wedding. And I like the variety from that because you get a dinosaur world, you get like an old Chicago Mafia world.
That's the coolest level, and that's awesome.
And not only that, you can change Mario's appearance as well based on the world, and it just having that aspect of it was new and different, and I loved it.
My number 2, it's a Sega Genesis game. I would not feel comfortable not putting this beat 'em up on my list, especially high up on the list, and that is the first Streets of Rage. I love this game. I love the style of music. This is, to me, when I think of classic 90s beat 'em ups, I think of this franchise and specifically this game. You're pretty much, ex-police that are trying to save your city from these like punk 80s 90s like gang members, and you're just going around and you're just fighting gangs and like literally just using martial arts to just stop the syndicate and stop all these criminals. And
you have a lot of gang stuff on your
I like violence.
Parents who buy some of those games may not realize just how much violence they're getting.
If you're into like street combat beat 'em ups, I highly recommend checking out the Streets of Rage. It's co-op also, so it's a lot of fun to play with a buddy.
Number 1 game of all time.
Okay.
Jared, what is it?
What is Jared's number 1? I actually would really be surprised to see how many others would put this on their top 5 list of favorite games of all time.
It's a shocker, I'll be honest.
To put as your number 1, I am a big kart racer fan. I love kart racers, and no, I'm not putting Mario Kart on there. I am putting Diddy Kong Racing as my number 1 favorite game of all time. And I'll tell you what, to this day, this is the only kart racing game I can pinpoint in any console that still has an adventure mode. That is a lot of fun. It's a storyline. Granted, the storyline you never know about unless you read the manual. Because they tell the whole storyline of why you're even doing this racing to begin with. And the whole premise is pretty much the Diddy Kong Island is being taken over, and you have to go get these balloons and go to different dimensions and race and win races, and eventually end up going to space and doing this really crazy space level.
See you later, worms.
It introduces different type of weapon variants, which I really like, so power-ups. So, you get one missile, and then you can get another equivalent balloon or whatever to get the kind of the homing missile. And then eventually you can get 10 missiles. So there's a lot of different power-up elements to the weapons.
The vehicles.
And the vehicles, so I mean, you can literally do hovercraft, car, or plane. Each vehicle has its own purpose and its own pathway through each course. So, you may be able to go a whole other pathway and whole other shortcuts if you're in the airplane versus if you're just driving a car.
Yeah, there's replay value. With
It's great. Exactly. And also part of the replay value is part of the level, each kind of dimension is you get these keys to unlock a whole other like bonus round, and these keys are hidden throughout each level, and depending on what vehicle you're driving gives you the access to these keys. And then the final thing which I really love about this game is just the introduction to some of these new characters, hence Banjo. Conker's also makes an appearance before he becomes, evil little monster.
Well, there I am. Conquer the king.
He's going kart racer, you know me. I'm going with an RPG. I am going with Persona 5 Royal. So the reason why I'm going Royal, because it has all the bonus stuff and a little extra story content and characters as well. So this is the more complete edition of the game. But Persona 5 is amazing. It's one of the few games where I'm comfortable and happy with putting over 100 hours into it, because with these Persona games, you exactly do that. It's a 100-hour game at least. But the cool thing I like about the Persona franchise is it's an RPG, very similar elements if you played a JRPG before, but you literally go through like a life simulator. You're generally a high school student, so it's a very stereotypical anime story.
Yeah.
You're like a high school student with some sort of superhero-like powers.
What a show off.
You go to school, you make friends, you have relationships, you can even work a job, and that influences the personas you can get and create. It is an Atlas game as well, so
every Atlas title
is amazing.
Amazing, and then also on the more valuable rare side,
Yes.
because of the limit of actual physical copies they release to the public.
So if you're a fan of anime, JRPGs, stuff like that, you're gonna love this series.
Those are our top 5 favorite game lists.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
All time, so.
Yeah, thank you once again to Samantha Azira. We'll leave all her YouTube info in the description below. Thank you for challenging us. Definitely had a lot of fun sitting down.
Great. Yeah, it's also going to be a lot of fun to kind of replay some of these titles, and I think that's something we should do is actually go back and play. Obviously, Eric doesn't have a life if he's going to tackle this piece.
I'm going to
but I will be playing Diddy Kong later, so.
Yeah, hey, that's a great racing game.
Yeah.
So we're going to do 3 challenges. Our challenges for top 10 video games is going to be Pixel Game Squad, NES Addict, and Russ Lyman. We want to know what your top 10 video games of all time are. So if you're watching, and hopefully you are, we look forward to the video.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what your guys' top picks are. So we're Retro Gaming Pandemic. Thank you for watching.